Hello, everybody. Welcome to Stumbling Towards the Eschaton. This is your host, Nick, joined by...
This is Pastor Mike here. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. So, what day is it today?
Well, we're talking about June 5th. We are, again, moving through more text, reading about a bunch of other stuff. It is a good set of text again, as always.
We're talking about miracles here. You see, what I don't understand, what's not in this, why is the one where he does, where was it Peter that was just like, you know what, ghost that tells fortunes, get out of here.
Oh, that was Paul.
Paul, why is that not in this? That is a worthy story.
Well, because we've already done it. It's part of Easter.
Well, you can do it twice. You can
No,
double
you can't.
dip.
Now, lectionary.
You can double dip.
You cannot double dip in No double dip. All right. That just escalated quickly.
I think that was the wildest minute.
All right, that's
all right, everybody. Keep on stumbling.
Oh my! Can't go anywhere past that.
All right, so what's this gospel?
So again, we're in that time of year where it's miracles and lessons and all these other sorts of things, and we get a good old-fashioned resurrection miracle. So I mean, again, Jesus is moving around. He's in a joint called Nain, and they find this horrible situation where this woman, her only son is dead, and she's heartbroken, yada yada. She's a widow. She's got no recourse. There's nothing going on, and Jesus rolls up. He touches the dead guy, and he says, "Young man, I say to you, rise." And the dead guy sits up, and he's alive, and he gave him back to his mother. And it's funny because then it says, "Fear seized all of them, and they glorified God, saying, a great prophet has risen among us, and God has looked favorably on his people." The word spread about him throughout Judea and all the surrounding country. So, I mean, yeah. Just out of the blue, dude shows up and raises somebody from the dead.
It's still not as good when Paul was doing his sermon and the guy falls off
out the window. Yeah, it's a resurrection miracle this time of year, and it's a wild one. It's an interesting one.
You see, I like to think of a lot of these resurrection miracles more on like the metaphor kind of side of it, which is if you see yourself in like a dead end situation where where you feel like you're basically dead, like with the help of God, you can get back onto like the right track. That's a lot of where I see like a lot of the resurrection miracles, like taken in from like along with the literal side of it to the like the meaning behind it.
Well, that's an interesting question. You want to go with it? Because I hadn't gone there. Because it's the story of a resurrection, and you can go a lot of different ways from it. Like, obviously, you had compassion on this woman. Because, again, she was a widow, but then her son's dead, and as a lone female...
You're kind of screwed.
Exactly. We've talked about that before. You've got no legal recourse, yada, yada, yada. You're up the creek. So he even does, besides raising her son back to the dead, it's like, no, you get your voice back. You get all these realities back. As a woman, you have worth, which is a good thing. But you raise up this interesting thing of, I would call it the resurrection spectrum. Mm-hmm. Because, you know what I mean? Because a resurrection can take a lot of form. I believe in bodily resurrections. I get no problem with him doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I talk about miracles in the Bible, a lot of people love going full metaphor. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't got a problem with it, because the whole point of it being a miracle is it's not.
Yeah.
It's miraculous.
And that's, like, where I come with that is... as I said, like I can believe that he's raised people,
yeah. And
it's just like with how short this gospel is, it's kind of like there, like as long as like he's raising someone indeed, but there's some kind of like message behind it.
Well, exactly, because again, you're not sitting in a situation where you're like, you know what, I need somebody to bodily resurrect it at the moment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's even the Mary and Martha thing where it's like, well, on the last day we'll have the bodily resurrection. We're cool. There are resurrections that can happen now that aren't bodily resurrections. Mm-hmm. And yes, and I like that. I like that you brought that up. You know what I mean? Because I think there are some people that need new life. Because resurrection's literally, you're getting new life.
And that's what I'm saying. Like with a lot of, like how Jesus can just be a third party and just helping out someone, like, like as the metaphor. Like how with Hesed House.
Yes!
You have these people who are looking for a resurrection of themselves because they, you're just kind of lower on the tier list if,
Well, and they're homeless. How daunting is it to not have a permanent place?
Mm-hmm. And with having them and like with everybody, all the amazing volunteers that are at Hesed House, like Brother Bruce, for
Brother Bruce!
example. He is one of my favorite, like he is one of my heroes. Like all the stuff that he does, and he's kind of the Jesus in this situation. With you see these people struggling, and you have this third party person be like, well, you know what, I'm gonna help you out. I don't care what if it's kind of like how you're saying last week, but I like you. You treat my family good. I treat you good, and that's I can see Bruce saying that.
Yes, he treats them good. He is good to everybody. I mean, he's probably one of the most faithful. I mean, he rarely misses. I think in all the years we've been doing it, it's like less than a handful of times, which is pretty intense. You know what I mean? Because when you do it like 27 odd times a year or something, you know what I mean? It's pretty impressive. I mean, the dude always goes. And I mean, it is funny too because he also takes grief because he's a Cards fan, and he wears his Cards love proud, man. But you got these dudes, and you got some intense Cubs and Sox fans often coming through there, and they grieve the brother.
Yeah.
They grieve the brother with that. But yes, I mean, the Hesed House is a resurrection-bearing reality, in concurrence with God calls us to do. I agree wholeheartedly. What are some other resurrection categories? You have this resurrection of, you know what I mean, you know, in some ways dignity, maybe hope, you know what I mean, giving new life through dignity and clothes and shelter. Hesed House does a lot of good work. Even resurrection with job training, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to get people back on their feet. And if you ever hear any of the full success stories, it's like, I'm not homeless anymore, yada, yada, yada. How this, like you said, this third party, this bearer of good news, because again, their name is said, is a biblical concept. I mean, they make no bones about it. They do this because of faith, Hesed House. Yeah, I like it. Other one. Where else would you go? Where else do you see good resurrections on the resurrection spectrum?
I see good resurrections with me graduating, like with, you know, like you have the people who are like, man, like I feel constrained here, like, you know, and just kind of like where they're losing their self with high school, with how like you have to take classes in all the different spectrums, even though you know you want to be this, you know, and you start to lose your sense of self. And once you're done with that, you can have the resurrection of your career, and you're able to go to college and you're able to do what you want.
Do what you want. Within reason, because again, at my age, do you want? Good luck with that.
Exactly. I mean, that's what you could try. You could try what you want. Well, like with an example of that, with me and Victoria, she wants to be a chef, a pastry chef. And she is going, when she's done with her school, like with her high schooling, she is going to go to JJC and take the culinary arts program. Because not only is it a cooking class, you get the history of food, you get the math behind food, you get the science behind food, and
There's
it's
a lot of
everything.
science.
And there's that spectrum, and you're not taking the science of geology in a rock that's 100 meters underneath, you know, like, and it's not that, it's all within the same kind of spectrum.
Yeah, it's the whole gamut, but focused on her gift, skills, and abilities.
Yeah.
Because she errs on the side of her abilities being culinary. And there's science, there's math, there's presentation. You want to talk about art. You know what I mean? A lot of people say presentation. There also has to be certain linguistic skills, because writing recipes or following them, oh man, I hate it when recipes are cryptic. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this is ambiguous what we want me to do here.
We actually did a pretty good job at our cookbook. I read through it, and it's pretty easy to
Our
follow.
cookbook's awesome. It's
Yeah.
audacious. Yeah, no, that's a good one. You know, one of my favorite resurrection ones is
What?
relationships. I mean, this widow and Nain story is interesting because first congregation I served, I was there for a reasonable period of time. Man, I'm bad with dates sometimes. But just remember that this woman had her sister die. And, you know what I mean, they're doing the funeral, and one of the things that she wanted to make sure to do was to get word to her son, who she hadn't talked to in years. I mean, they were totally estranged. You know what I mean? Hadn't talked. Their relationship was dead. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what? You know, I got to do my part. For what I worth, I got to let him know that his aunt died. If he wants to show up, he can show up. You know what I mean? Ball's in his court, which is a healthy way of doing it. I can do my piece. I can't force anybody. I can't guilt people. I can give you the information, and I can give you the wherewithal to do what you want to do.
Well, this is like, not to cut you off, but like, have you ever read The Great Gatsby?
Oh yeah.
Where Gatsby's dad, after not speaking to Gatsby in his entire life, goes to Gatsby's estate after he passes away because he saw it in the news. and it was just kind of like that moment of because that like family was a big issue in that story.
All about relationship.
Yeah.
Well, and he showed up.
Yeah.
And there was that moment of where it's like, where is it going to go? But they were able to resurrect the relationship. And, I mean, that's a powerful thing. If you've ever had, like, somebody that's like, you dead to me. You know what I mean? But it comes back. That's huge. That's a resurrection piece. And sometimes only by the grace of God. You know what I mean? Because both of those people look dang scared. And I was there in one of those moments where I'm like, oh, man, Lord Almighty, please do not let this turn into a brawl at a funeral home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are pretty awkward. You know, those are resurrection moments, you know, powerful ones, good ones. I like the resurrection spectrum.
And this is like, I don't know when this is, if this is ever going to happen, but I haven't seen my real dad since I was just a wee babe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like our relationship has been dead for like 9 years now. And it's kind of the situation that he went through the same thing that I did, but his dad went back to contacting him after he was done with high school. And a little part of me is just waiting for that phone call to tell him, like, hey, you messed up. Like, and it's kind of to just let him know, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you got to do what you got to do in those situations. Not judgment. They're not easy. They never are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, resurrection of relationship, resurrection of, call, vocation. I mean, that's the word I'd use for your special lady friend. You know, I love that phrase. My wife hates it, but I love that
Special
phrase.
lady friend.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, and I like where you're going with that, is that these stories, you know what I mean? God can use the story of Christ raising the ultimate form of resurrection to call us to see where else is he causing resurrection in our life. You know what I mean? Maybe, literally, I love the phrase dead-end job.
Mm-hmm.
Are people sometimes stuck in a dead-end job that's taking a life from them? And to have then a new calling, a new vocation. You know what I mean? Victoria, I mean, has that. I mean, you feeling like your school, that you're free, that you have some joy in finding, what is my vocation? What can give me life and pay the bills?
Mascotting.
That's the sweet spot, baby, for the Olympics.
I know, that's riding that goal. Living the dream.
So other resurrections. I was always a big relationship fan one. You know what I mean? I like the vocation one. You know what I mean? I mean, families getting resurrected. Shoot, maybe mental health too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe depression. You know, if you've ever met somebody that, you know, they're so down, they're like, it's not worth living. You know what I mean? There's going to be the resurrection.
I hate to bring her up again, but Victoria's, I told you before that she was having that struggle. Mm-hmm. And you could really tell the difference of her from this month to like 2 months ago when she first started to take her medicine. And she's, you know, it's crazy to see the metamorphosis, like the resurrection of who she is as a person.
Yeah,
and
she can fully be who God intended her to be.
Exactly.
Which is an awesome blessing. Yeah, there's a lot of resurrections going on, which are good. I mean, and maybe that's the interesting thing. Yeah. The resurrection spectrum. So let's throw this out. Let's throw this out as the homework on this one. That's what I might talk about then. I like that. Resurrection spectrum. Maybe I'm going to talk about the relationships. Because it's interesting, because it talks about she got her son back.
Yeah.
There's even that sense of the resurrection of the relationship was important, too. I like that. So, maybe for the homework, where do you all see resurrections? Where do you see, you know what I mean? Where do you want a resurrection? Is there a relationship? Is there a calling, a vocation? Purpose? I mean, who doesn't want purpose to know that they matter and those sorts of things? For this resurrection story. Chat back. You want to do chat back?
I'm feeling chat pack right now.
All right, before we move on to current events.
Yeah, we got a little commercial chat pack break.
Chat back at your local store.
We already did this one. All right,
seriously,
putting that to the
that's
back.
A conundrum.
All right, watch it. There'll just be like 7, but they're all just repeating.
That would drive me nuts. I would lose my gourd.
Most people have a favorite story or experience that they love to share with other people. Here's your chance. What's your story?
My favorite story?
Your favorite
story? Did I ever tell you the monkey story?
What?
Did I ever tell you the monkey story?
No.
I'll tell you the monkey story. This is how I remember it. Again, always the caveat. This all goes through the lens of how I remember this going down. All right? So if you don't remember the same way and you listen to this, you know who I am. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. So I was in India. I was studying in India for about a month when I was in seminary. It was awesome. Crew of us were going from a couple seminaries, yada, yada. The bee's knees, the man himself, H.S. Wilson, was leading it. Born and raised in India. Totally awesome dude. So we spent some time in Mumbai, Mangalore, and Bangalore, a couple of those towns in India. And when we were going to go flying back, we had this awesome experience of that the airline, Alitalia, that was supposedly handling our flights, says, we don't think your tickets are real. So they were going to strand us in India. Like, you gotta do it. It was almost like this weird monetary hostage situation. Like, you got to buy new tickets one way. You know what I mean? They're pretty pricey, but we'll get you back where you need to be. And so, like, seriously, I think HS had to go to like the American consulate. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, this airline is trying to strand us and extort money from us to get us back. It was like hilarious. So we were like stuck there like an extra 1 or 2 days. And so we're hosts. We're awesome. Got us in the bus and took us like this nature preserve. And it's funny because before we even going, my buddy Wagner was like, I'm scared of monkeys. I'm worried about going. We're all giving him crowd like, who's scared of monkeys? Why are you scared of monkeys? I mean, this is India. There's tigers, man. You know what I mean? In the Jungle Book, Shere Khan is the bad guy, and you're scared of monkeys? You know what I mean? There's a monkey. You know, they got symbols, and they got little hats on. You know what I mean? People got, you know what I mean, playing the little jamboree boxes or whatever they are. I ain't no scared of the monkeys. You know what I mean? Whatever. So we're there, and so we're looking at these things, and lo and behold, we stumble upon this troop, I don't know what they're called, like a troop of monkeys. And the alpha male, looks like who's the alpha male, sitting on this pile of garbage. Like they totally had just knocked over this garbage pan, and they're there. And here he is, and he's got like this roll of like Oreos. And he's like eating them, and he's like, I'm this monkey king eating the Oreos. Now some of the other ones, some of like the females and the other little kids were getting like skittish because we were like, oh my gosh, monkeys. First everybody was like, oh, holy cool, man, take pictures of the monkeys. You know, so they're flashing going off. And somebody got a little too close. And I think it was honest to goodness, you know, again, it was. But so this monkey charges. I don't know if it was like, you know what I mean, like the beta male or like the alpha female, but like, I mean, full on. And it turns out monkeys have pretty good sized teeth and claws. I was not aware of that. Maybe need to watch more Wild Kratts or something. But this monkey, like full tilt coming at us. And in my recollection, just time slows down. And it's one of those moments you're like, holy cow, dude. We as a herd are being charged with monkeys. And like in slow motion, some people that are just like, you know what I mean? Like trying to go backwards, like, and here's Wagner. And I swear, one of our guides pushes Wagner toward the monkey to like get away. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't have to be faster than the lion. I just have to be faster than the slowest guy kind of concept. So he starts booking. And like, I see Wagner almost falling slow motion toward this monkey. And my mind's like, holy cow. The one dude that's scared of monkeys is going to be mauled by monkeys. Just like, oh, who would have thunk it? And then out of the corner of my eye, I see the totally one of the other guys like sprinting in flip-flops. Because in India, they like only wear flip-flops. And he's like full tilt. And he rears back. And I swear to you, this is my memory, so help me God. He punts this monkey. Like he rears back as it's coming forward and just kicks this thing. And this monkey just kind of goes flipping. And like the herd scattering. And you know what I mean? I just see this like, this is what I remember. And hopefully I'm not making this up. So I mark out, but I just remember this vividly in my head, even to this day. Because my mind cannot forget this. This will probably be the last thought on my deathbed. And I apologize to my wife and kids. But like, I will not remember them. My last thought would be like, I honestly saw a man in flip-flops punt a monkey. But he's just like almost like this monkey, like with a surprised look in his face, like cartwheeling through the air. You know what I mean? Like it was so surreal and it's like burned into your psyche. And I don't know if I had like these thoughts in your moments where almost time slows down in weird moments. Like, is this straight up happening? Like your mind's like, I can't register this because this is too weird. I'm recording this. This is not going down though.
It's trying to make
probably
sense.
all like happened in like 2 seconds, but it seemed like an hour of just like you're like, you know what I mean? Where your mind can't register. Like I would be eaten by a tiger in the wilderness because my mind's just like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then after the smoke clears, on top of the garbage, the king monkey is still sitting there just eating cookies like nothing happened. I mean, it was just like, he's like, whatever. You know what I mean? It was one of the wildest trips of my life. Then we got out of the country, but it is my strong, you know what I mean? I preached in India. You know what I mean? I visited the slums of India. All these changing experiences, but still just like burned. Like some weird, like I stared at like an image that was too bright on my eyes. Is a man kicking a monkey.
I think that's your spirit animal.
No, because they're creepy.
A man kicking a monkey? No, not the monkey's your spirit animal. The man kicking the monkey.
The man kicking my monkey. I wish I could remember his name, but he's my hero. Did you got a story?
Oh man, all my stories are boring. All right, let's see. The most crazy story. I don't know. I kind of like talk about this. Like, I don't have any like deep. Like I have not a dragon slay. I maybe tried to. I don't know. I want a story as great as yours, as in me hugging a Komodo dragon.
You know those things are poisonous.
Yeah, but they still give hugs. There's people. I'm pretty sure it's still India. It's like it's one of those like wherever the
Well, they live on those small islands, like it's between like India and like the Philippines. You know, what I mean, going into that oceanic region, I believe. Yeah.
And there is people who will just take the Komodo dragons, like they'll feed them, and then they'll pick them up and give them a hug. And it's kind of like, because it's like the spiritual side of these Komodo dragons can literally kill us all. Because they like smell blood up to like 30 miles away. But it's the like, let me give you food. All right, we good, bro. And you just pat him on the back and give him a hug.
Bro, I brought you some more steak. Right, man. I won't bite you.
It's pretty terrifying though. As I was looking at some pictures, like I just want to visit the island just to visit it. And the houses are all on like 12-foot stilts.
Yeah, because those things are crazy.
Yeah, and it's all ladders.
Yeah, because I mean, because there's the debate, isn't there, whether their spit has so much bacteria, and I thought I read one report that it's not the bacteria, but honestly, in their saliva glands, they make a poison. Because you know, one guy was like, you know what I mean, their mouth because they're drooling, and one person said it was the bacteria, and so it's like this bacteria that bites, and you know what I mean. They don't even like, oh, they'll surprise something, they'll bite it, and then they'll just let it run away, and just be like moseying along afterwards because it's gonna die. But one researcher I thought said, no, it's honestly good to say test the saliva, and there's a toxin in there, which is wild, man.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty crazy. Like there's so many cases of like if you don't live in one of those stilted houses, you're kind of screwed in Komodo Island.
Yeah.
Because there's cases of little kids going off to go into the bathroom in the woods, and then a giant Komodo dragon comes with like their leg in their mouth, and like the kid's just never to be seen again. Because those guys are fierce. When they're hungry, they'll just continue to eat.
Well, and if you're poisoned, you're dead. There's no cure. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, it's one of those ones where it's like, you're dead.
Yeah.
And I love how people still live there.
I know, like that's...
But at least we don't got to worry about traffic.
It's pretty crazy. Like
you're a glass half full kind of guy, aren't you?
they'll have just stakes and they'll throw them into a pile, and then the Komodo dragons will all go into that pile, and then they'll go between buildings. It's just like, it's so crazy.
And the fact the way they run looks like they're all constipated. The way
they're like,
don't you need to go potty? Stop saying that.
All right. And I think that's a good Komodo dragon potty runs.
Share your stories.
Yes. So, all right, you want to recap the homework?
All right, homework. So, resurrection was our theme. That's what we got out of this resurrection of the widow of the named son. And we talked about the cool realities of that resurrection. Yeah, obviously bodily. But right now, you might not need a bodily resurrection. You might need another. How can we be resurrection bearers, or what resurrection may we need?
And what's a crazy story?
That's great.
Keep on stumbling.
All right, thanks all.